the desecration and destruction of the divine feminine, both when it came to just the regular woman as well as goddess worship. My religious studies major is about to come out. When Christianity was brought to Ireland, it obviously completely changed the landscape from more spirituality and nature-based, goddess-based worship to patriarchal monotheism. When I heard the song, it made me think of the Magdalene Laundries. If you aren't familiar with what those are, they were church-run institutions, women that worshipped goddesses, women that were impure, women that were sexually free. They were put in these Magdalene Laundries in the name of moral purification. She feels no control of her body. She feels no safety in my arms. To me, the woman he loves is in a Magdalene Laundry. She has no control of her body. He can't protect her. The lyric, always a well-dressed fraud, obviously talking about clergymen who wouldn't spare the rod. The Bible verse is from Proverbs, and it's spare the rod, spoil the child. That verse is often used to justify punishment, which again ties me back to the Magdalene Laundries. And fun fact, the last one was closed in like 1996. When he says, she moved with shameless wonder, that to me sounds like he's speaking about something divine, the perfect creature rarely seen. I think the woman in this song might not be a woman, but might be Ireland herself. In Irish myth, the land was not just a resource, it was a goddess. For example, kings had to marry the land and get goddess approval to become king. It was said that you could tell if the king had not honored his goddess because the land would become barren. The broken love I make to her, broken love is barren. The woman might be barren, the land is barren. Line, all I do is quake to her. It makes me think of when you see something like divine and you tremble before it. I think she is the land. Maybe quake could be earthquake. This next lyric, since some liar brought the thunder. The liar is probably St. Patrick. The myth of St. Patrick is he drove out snakes from Ireland. The problem? There were no native snakes in Ireland. He's lying about driving the snakes out. So if we're not talking about snakes, what are we talking about? Goddess worship is tied to snakes. Scholars now would say that St. Patrick driving the snakes out is symbolic. It's symbolic of actually driving out goddess worship. People who say they don't like foreigners' God, one thing I've heard is they're like, it's too repetitive. He's screaming the name of a foreigner's God. That's all he says. That's all he said. I need you to know about Irish keening. Keening is otherwise known as wailing for the dead, and it was led by women during typically like funeral processions. And it's important to note that keening was done by women who served the goddesses or the goddesses themselves. They would repeat phrases or sounds over and over and over. They would maybe call out the deceased name over and over and over, or maybe something like, why did you leave us, over and over and over. And it's supposed to mirror the cyclical nature of grief. And when done correctly, it helped people almost get into a trance-like state. He keeps repeating, screaming the name of a foreigner's God. I think he's keening, purest expression of grief. He's keening not just for a lover, but for Ireland pre-colonization. That's how I like to hear the song, maybe because I'm a woman, but I see it as the desecration of just the regular Irish woman with colonization and the desecration of goddess worship. But let me know what you think.